On the day of June 10, 1912, a crime was committed that shocked a once-called peaceful neighborhood in Villisca, Iowa, leaving people terrified and confused on why somebody would commit this act of violence against a family of 6, along with 2 family friends. This location and crime became known to many people around Villisca, Iowa, due to the tragedies that had happened, which then was named the Villisca Axe murders. In this presentation, I will go over the victims, the history of the crime, as well as the suspects. So let's dive in and go to and meet the victims first. The Moores family and the Stillinger sisters. J.B. Moore was one of the most prominent businessmen in the town and was married to Sarah Moore in December 6, 1899, and went on to have 4 children. Herman, who was the oldest, sitting at 11 years old. A year later, Catherine was born, making her 10. Then Boyd, who was 7, and Paul, who was 5, as well as the Stillinger sisters, who were family friends of Catherine, Lena, who was 12 years old, and Ida, who was 8. J.T. Stillinger was also the father of them, who was one of the most successful farmers in that town. Now we will go over what happened and the events that lead up to this crime. In 1903, they bought their house. This town had around 2,500 people, which was considered a small town, but was also considered a bustling railroad town, considering that many people came in and out. Sarah was involved with the Presbyterian Church and planned a program called the Children's Day Program on the night of June 9th. It lasted till around 9:30 at night, where they then walked to their house with the Stillinger sisters, who were invited to stay the night. Later, they arrived, not knowing what would happen next. One of the theories was that the suspect went to their house, snuck in, taking advantage of all the people being at the Children's Day program. He then snuck to the attic, which was believed because there was 2 cigarette butts found in the corner of the attic, where he then waited until the Moores' arrival, waiting until everybody was asleep, where he then killed everybody with an axe, which belonged to J.B. Moore. The next morning, their neighbor, who they were very close with, Mary Peckham, became very concerned, noticing that none of their chores outside were finished and the house stayed still. She then went over and tried to unlock the door, which she found that was locked, which was very uncommon since they trusted everybody in this neighborhood. Mary's concern grew more and more to the point where she called J.B. Moore's brother, Ross, where he then came and unlocked the door, but quickly stepped out of the house due to what he saw. He later then alerted Mary to call the sheriff right away. The police were very underdeveloped during this time, therefore they weren't able to control the crime scene as well. It was reported that over 100 people went through the house while the bodies were still in there, destroying evidence. And the news catched on like wildfire, spreading to more and more towns to be careful of who could have committed this murder. During this investigation, they found many odd things, such as all the mirrors and windows being covered by cloths, and even a bowl of bloody water and a plate of uneaten food laid out on the table. With this crime came to many people who were suspected. Reverend George Kelly was one of the main suspects. He was a traveling minister and was known to be very creepy, and was reported that many people accused him of asking women very inappropriate things on multiple occasions. They believed him to be a suspect because on August 31st, 1917, he confessed to this murder. He His confession consisted of him explaining how he got there, which was he went on a walk that night and spotted the Stillinger sisters dressing in the window. He then, according to legendsofamerica.com, had a voice in his head say, "Suffer the children to come unto me." He later recanted his confession, and after 2 trials, he was acquitted because nobody believed him since he was mentally ill. The second suspect that rose was Frank F. Jones. Frank F. Jones worked with J.B. Moore, and they were very close friends until J.B. Moore decided to quit and start his own company. This made Frank very mad because it was reported that he was taking business away from them. There was also a rumor that JB was having an affair with his daughter-in-law. Because of this, he was very mad, and there was even a theory of Frank hiring a hitman named William Mansfield to do the crime for him. The last suspect was Henry Lee. He was a serial killer, or at least suspected to be one. He was convicted of killing his mother and his grandmother, with the murder weapon being an axe. Still today, nobody knows what actually went on since police gave up in 1917. Today, the Villisca Axe Murder House is a very famous tourist attraction, even having reasons to believe that there is paranormal activity as well as many other things. Thank you for joining me today, and as I said earlier, if you think you could solve this crime with all the evidence and the theories that's been given, do you think you could solve it?